Hi everyone, my name is Kaya. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about my goals for 2026. Year of the horse, because 2025, the year of the snake, I shed so much, I learned so much. My goal really for this year is to not make the same mistakes, because God knows that I already made all the mistakes that I feel like I'm capable of making. And, I would be damned if I did not at least learn the basics for this year. So I'm going to go over my goals for 2026 with everything that I learned and how I want to make 2026 my best year yet. I really hope it's my best year yet because, by contrast, it's gonna feel at least a lot better, and that's all I can hope for. In 2025, I was really focused on saying yes to everything. That included plans that my friends wanted to do, meeting new people, going to so many social events. So I met a lot of really, really cool people. And in turn, meeting a lot of cool people, you also, shed some people out of your life. I did a whole video on that, on shedding individuals out of my life. And unfortunately, I shed a pretty big friend group out of my life in 2025. And that was mainly because I had broken up with my ex-boyfriend, and it was originally, he was an original member of that group. So I'll let him have that group. But one of my main goals for 2026 is to find more people that I genuinely click with. I'm gonna try my best to stay away from, a friend group dynamic. That's what I felt like that was my main source of friends. I hung out with 3 different friend groups, and sometimes the relationships feel a little less intimate when you're hanging out with a friend group. I feel like you get to know people maybe on more of a surface level than a really deep level. My main goal for this year is to find friends outside of a friend group that I can get to know on a deeper level. And I was hanging out with the certain friend group that I shed. I felt like it was a lot like summer camp. I loved the people in the friend group. They were so much fun, but at a certain point I was like, this cannot go on forever. There was a lot of interesting triangulations that happened in the friend group, a lot of jealousy and a whole bunch of different stuff going on. So for me, I just want really drama-free friendships this year with, just 1 or 2 individuals. And one of my main goals is also I have a lot of great friends, and I'd really like to deepen those friendships. So, find a handful of new people, new perspectives, and then also deepen the friendships that I already have. With the year of saying yes, I really tried so many different hobbies, activities, sports, and so my energy was really scattered. I just really wanted to fully taste what life was like after self-isolating and in a relationship for 10 years. I was really scattered with my energy, and I really went wide instead of deep. That was mainly because I just wanted to figure out what for 2026, what I really wanted to focus my energy on. I wanted to try so many new things, and now I have a handle on, the 3 or 4 different things that I want to focus my energy on. I think it's important to go, once you figure out what you really like to do, go deep rather than wide. And it offers such a different perspective when you really delve into different activities or different subjects. It gives you just such a different perspective on life, and scattering your energy, being a master of nothing, that's really awesome too. But I think in order for me to build my self-confidence up after my divorce, it is important for the time being that I have already found the things that I like to do in my city. This year, I'm making an intentional effort to really focus on those things and really get good at those things. Another one of my goals is to spend less time on social media this year. I know that's probably overplayed, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I was spending almost 3 hours a day on Instagram, and I just want to create more. I want to be present in the world more. I want to hear the birds chirping. I don't want to be drooling at the mouth, just flipping through reels, and like I really love doing YouTube and making videos, and it really brings me back to like a former childlike version of myself where I used to make videos alone in my bedroom as a kid. So just doing more experiences that are intentional, like this experience, going on a walk without, you know, even listening to music sometimes, or not at the end of the day, like sitting on my couch watching TV. Like if I watch TV, I want to do it without my phone, and I want to do it very intentionally. Like, okay, this is the 30 minutes I'm going to watch my show. Nothing's going to interrupt my show. I've been doing this for the last month, and I've noticed that my attention span has actually really increased, because social media, you know, the reels, it was really affecting my brain more than I thought it was. Another one of my goals is to meditate daily, and I've been doing this for the last month. It has helped me tremendously with just, you know, realizing that not every thought needs a reaction. 2025 for me looked like a very emotional year. Because my emotions were so high and I was so stressed out, I tended to react more than I wanted to. And I'm really trying to react less and have more intentional reactions, because every thought that enters your brain, it doesn't need to be said, you know, to say the least. It's really important to have control over your reactions. It's actually the only thing that you can control is your reactions. You know, you can't control how sick you're feeling in your stomach if you're anxious, or the loss you feel in your heart, but you can control how you respond to your emotions, which is a very important thing to learn. And slowly but surely, even after a month of like meditating every morning for 20 minutes, you really learn so much about yourself. So I'll talk about my meditation experience in another video, just because I feel like it's really transformed my life, and there's a lot to talk about. Meditating every morning for 20 to 30 minutes. I'm planning to do that this whole year, and I've already seen like life-changing results after just 1 month. Another thing that I'm working on, which is a huge thing, I actually just talked to my sister about this on the phone today, is walking away from people before their behavior gets so bad that you can't physically take it anymore. I have had such a hard time giving up on people and walking away. It definitely stems from growing up in a household that feel like you can't give up on your parental figures. I always thought that behavior needed to be bad enough to justify my walking away. And you can walk away at the first sign of bad behavior that you don't want to tolerate. It doesn't have to wreck your nervous system. It doesn't have to make you so sick and have panic attacks and have, you know, flare-ups in your immune system for you to justify walking away. You can know that this relationship isn't healthy for you, or, you know, not a relationship that even adds to your life, and that's enough to walk away. You know, you don't need to pour everything into it to hope that someone will change. You know, people are who they are, and someone tells you who they are, you need to believe them. That is me telling you all that, and that is also me telling myself that. There are so many times where I haven't, you know, in 2025 I didn't really stand my ground, you know, or voice when something made me feel uncomfortable. I was scared that if I, you know, voice what made me uncomfortable, that people would not think I was like a very chill person, or not easygoing enough, or like too difficult. So I was scared that they would walk away. But now in 2026, and I've already started to do this actively, I've just been voicing when things have made me feel uncomfortable. Like if my friend says a comment that, you know, affects a community outside myself, I voice when I really don't like that. If someone tries to shame me publicly in front of different people because my hair doesn't look right, or, you know, like I put on fake tan and it's showing, like I know that's there. You don't need to publicly humiliate me in front of others. I've been better about voicing when someone is just being like a bully, like a playground bully, and I've been better about calling out this behavior, and I haven't historically been great at that. I've kind of been like the kid that will just like sit back and be like, oh, well, maybe I'll limit my time around them, you know, but now I'm actively calling things out and it feels really empowering for the first time. And when I do call out the behavior to my friends, their reaction really shows me whether they should stay in my life or not. You know, if they have a very defensive reaction or they bite back after I voice like, hey, this made me feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying you're a horrible person. I'm just saying that, you know, this certain comment made me feel weird. And if their reaction depends on whether I want to continue having a friendship with them or not. Okay, another thing that I'm learning in 2026, and oh my gosh, I should have listened to it my whole life, is my gut. Like I have pretty great intuition, and I've learned to suppress that intuition. And every time that I've had just a gut feeling about something, it has always transpired about people. So my main goal is to follow that intuition, listen to it. If something is giving me an eerie feeling, I'm not sticking around to see how that turns out. If someone gives me the heebie-jeebies, I'm not sticking around to see, is that anxiety or is there truth to that? Like, I don't need to see the ending of that story. I can just, walk away from people that I don't have a great feeling about. My last goal is to not pour into relationships that drain me. So if I don't feel great after hanging out with someone, even if it's family, I usually give people like 3 shots in a row. And if I continuously feel bad after the 3rd time, we're not doing this again. That's a pattern at that point. It isn't just, 3 bad situations in a row. And this isn't about, someone having depression or going through something hard in their life. Those situations like don't drain you in a way that make you feel smaller or less than. And of course you want to be there for a family member or a friend if they're going through something hard, but this is really the intentional act of someone trying to tear you down to make themselves feel bigger. And that behavior, just for me, that is just, I'm never going to tolerate that again. I've tolerated that all my life, and yeah, I'm not doing that again. Thank you for those who stayed to the end of the video and listened to all my goals for 2026. My goals are really centered around healthy relationships, regulating my nervous system, pouring into hobbies that I learned to love in 2025, cutting people out sooner and not hoping magically that they're gonna change, and then bringing new people into my life that are healthy and, give me life instead of draining life away. So thank you for making it to the end. I really appreciate that you're here, and I'll see you in the next video. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I hope you all have great goals that you're working on for the year of the horse. Okay, bye.